Welcome to the One Take Hot Takes podcast hosted by Esquade, brought to you by the BC Amàre Media Podcast Network. Every week, I'll deliver some of the hottest tech hot takes out there, and possibly some outright silly ones. But hey, that's the fun part. Now, for this week's episode. This week on the One Take Hot Takes podcast, I'll be doing a deep dive into the lack of excitement surrounding the Apple brand. Because right now, it's been kind of mid. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? It's Quite a Hit. This is the first episode of my brand new podcast, the One Take Hot Take podcast, on the brand new Amàre Podcasting Network, which is something that I'm starting. It's a brand new podcasting network I want to start out because I have a lot of this. I want to do a lot of different podcasts, but I don't want to just do like one podcast that has like 20 different topics on it. I just want to have like separate ones. So I might do, a little bit experimenting here and there with different podcast ideas. But this is something I'm trying to start out. So it's the Amàre Podcast Network. Something that I'm starting out with my girlfriend. Something that we thought, like a little new business venture. So we're gonna have a lot of different like podcasts under our network. And whatnot. One of the podcasts that you will be seeing on there is, of course, the Manilla Tech podcast, which is something I started with my good friend a couple years back, and that is going to come back still, so look out for that in the future. But for right now, this is the One Take Hot Take podcast, and you kind of saw a preview of this on my YouTube channel. I did like a little bit of a sneak peek. I did a little bit of a sneak peek of this on my YouTube channel, Esquade. Probably where you find me anyway, so I don't really have to say it. But so I did like a video where I do like a hot take on Apple's new MacBooks and stuff like that with the M2 Pro, M2 Max chips. And I was like, all right, yeah, do something a little bit different, and do like a hot take every once in a week. But then I was like, wait, hold up. I like this idea, but how about I make this into a podcast? I think that even sounds way more fun to me. I think having like a podcast is a more interactive idea, something fun, something that is different, and I think this would be pretty cool to do. So the One Take Hot Take podcast is now a thing on the new Amàre Podcasting Network. So yeah, I'm just super happy to jump into this. This is the first episode. I got my laptop here, some notes on here. I got my mics up. I really like the setup. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. I'm also gonna throw a video version up on YouTube. Always gotta have video podcasts for people out there who want to watch some type of visuals along with listening to it. It's not gonna be much. It's just gonna be me talking and stuff like that. So yeah, this is just for now, just a one man podcasting show. In the future, I would love to have some guests, and some special guests on the show, and maybe get a second host on in the future. But if you do want to listen to a 2-man podcast or one man, one woman podcast, listen to the Man A Tech podcast, because that is that's two hosts. This one's just me by myself, and occasionally I'll have like a couple friends come on here. I want to try this like in a in-house setup. So if I do have a guest, I want to have them come into my spot, and they'll have a guest. I'll have like guests in here and stuff like that. A little bit different, but yeah, a lot of talking. This is of course, for the new podcast, you want to do like an intro, introduce and stuff like that. But how much could I talk about that kind of stuff, right? So let's get into today's topic of today's podcast episode, which is going to be my hot take on Apple's lack of innovation. Yes, I know. Is this even a hot take at this point? I don't know, because I feel like a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people have the same opinion as me when it comes to Apple and like their current line of products. So actually, let me take a quick second. I want to turn my mic down a little bit. I think I'm talking a little bit too loud. Cause I could get loud. Surprisingly, right? If you know me in real life, I'm very, very soft spoken, but apparently here I'm screaming. So I don't want the audio to be like blown out and it sounds like trash. So that would be probably the worst thing that could happen right now, right? I would say so. Let me know if you like this up. I think I might actually use this up for YouTube videos too in the future, maybe a couple of videos. I got 2 new box lights, which I think is pretty dope. Of course, if you're watching the video version, you'll be able to see the setup. But I could play around with the lights stuff that have like remotes. So I could like put it on the 50%. Right now, I think it's at 50%. If it's too bright, hopefully not. I'll play around with that, but I like it. I think it looks pretty great. I have also a second view here, too, for like TikTok shots and like stuff like that. I actually think I need to turn this camera a little bit like this. So there's second shot here for like TikToks and stuff like that. I like cut it down, stuff like that. Or just a second view for YouTube. I don't know. We'll see. So, all right. So yeah, let's just jump into this today. like I said, we're going to be talking about Apple's lack of innovation and what they have been doing lately. Because honestly, Apple, I don't feel too excited buying Apple products lately. Like, I feel like they have hit a stagnant road. Not even just Apple, but I think all of tech has probably just hit like this roadblock where innovation is lacking. There are some spots where some people are innovating, like foldable devices, virtual reality, stuff like that. Like there are some improvements to tech, but like the changes year to year are again super 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 like small and tiny. It's not really exciting like it used to be. Like I don't know, something about it that I'm not finding this excitement, and that disappointed me as an Apple fan. I want to see like fun new products, but right now you're seeing like things that I kind of don't care about. Like the first thing I want to talk about honestly is probably the yearly M chip upgrades. I don't think that's a good idea. You know, I might be in the real like minority here when it comes to Apple's yearly upgrade with the computers, but I personally feel like Apple should upgrade their laptops, the M chip every year. They don't update the laptops every year, but I don't think they should update the M chip every year. We had the M1 chip, then we had the M2 chip. Let's see when the M1 chip came out. 'Cause I'm maybe time is just moving slow, right? It could be that. It could be time is moving slow, and I feel like it was a year to year thing. The M1 chip came out in 2020. Okay, maybe I was a bit wrong. M1 Pro and the M Max came out in 2021, and the M1 Ultra came out in 2022. Okay, cool. Apple M2 chip then came out in 2022. So okay, I was wrong. I'll admit there. It was a 2 year time difference between when the M1 first got announced and then when the M2 came out second. But to me, still, even a 2 year time gap, I feel like I I I personally, if you don't look at the numbers, if you don't look at the Geek Bench score, stuff like that, if you take a M2 laptop and the M1 laptop, put the both base model Airs next to each other, I quite honestly, they're probably gonna run exactly the same. Probably not gonna be much of a difference. The biggest thing about the M2 chip the M2 MacBook Air, in my opinion, is the new design to fit in with like the M1 Pros and M1 Max 16 inch. But besides that, it's like I think it might run the same. Maybe as a common user, I'm not too big into like, oh, let me do everything on my laptop and see how it does. No, I like to call myself a common user, common consumer who knows about tech and know what they're buying and could appreciate higher spec stuff. But I still kind of consider myself a regular person who just buys these things and want to play with them and try them out. And I feel like honestly that I don't know. I just don't see much of a difference. I think Apple probably could have waited until 2023 the year now to drop the M2 and maybe technology will allow them to do something different. Maybe that's not the case. I don't know. I don't work in the engineer. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know those kind of things too. So I gotta acknowledge my lack of expertise in that department. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see I'm curious about how these chips progress over time. Like to me, I think I was most salty when they announced the M2 Pro and M2 Max laptops because these probably could have came out in 2022 when those just came out in 2021. So I think that's what my problem was. The M1 Pro and M1 Max Pro came out in October 2021, and there was already rumors of an M2 Pro, M2 Max coming out as early as last fall, and so around like a year later. It did got pushed back until early 2023, and that could probably be more because of like the chip shortage and stuff like that. Apple just didn't want to release any more products at the end of the year, but they probably could have, and if they had did that, there would have been a year later that they upgrade those laptops. And that is the case where I'm just like, all right, I don't think that's needed. The M1 Pro and M1 Max laptops are so freaking good that I don't think you need to upgrade to the M2 Pro or M2 Max if you have one of those. 'Cause I don't think you're going to get a substantial upgrade that's going to do you well for your money. Plus, the trading options are literally horrendous. You could trade. If I put in my MacBook to see how much I would get for it, and those give me like $1,000 when I pay like over $2,000 for it. That's kind of messed up in my opinion. I think Apple's just like, those trading options are bad. And yes, you could go other routes and sell them on like Swappa, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, stuff like that, and you will get more money for it. But you gotta go through the hassle, potentially someone scamming you, and stuff like that. It's more of a risk for the reward. With Apple, it just like that. You trade in, you get your new computer, you done. That's it. You got to worry about anything else. So it, it's iffy. It gets a little iffy with that. Okay. So I gotta keep one F1 out at you because I gotta make sure I have someone come in, so I gotta make sure I hear that knock. But yes, that was my issues with that. The M1 Ultra, we haven't seen the M2 Ultra yet. Obviously, they'll probably announce that when the Mac Pros come out, whenever that is. I don't know, but we'll see. And yeah, like the original Mac M1 has 16 billion transistors. I'm just looking at stuff here to kind of see like what's the real difference. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, as an average consumer, I don't see it. I really don't. Um, yeah. But that's just the laptops, That's just the laptops. I don't think they should do the upgrades as frequently as I feel like they're doing them. Maybe it's not as frequent as I once thought it was, but to me, it still feels kind of frequent in terms of the upgrades. So yeah, it's not even just the M chip stuff too. The phones, honestly, the phone changes are becoming super minimal, like to the point where I wasn't gonna upgrade to the 14 Pro Max at the 14 Pro series, and the only reason why I did upgrade to it at the end of the day was simply because that um, my other phone broke. I dropped it, the screen cracked, it fell into a pool of rainwater. It was running slow. That phone was cooked. So I was like, all right, let me just upgrade my phone and get out the way. I did the app upgrade program because I like to upgrade every year anyway. So I feel like doing that doesn't really make too much of a difference. So I did end up going with the app upgrade program, just to have it set for next year. Just leave it at that, right? But quite honestly, if my phone didn't break, I probably wouldn't have upgraded because after using the phone, the cameras are really really great, but the cameras on the 13s were great too. Slight upgrade bumps. All you get with new phones these days is maybe a slight design change and a slight camera upgrade. That's it really when it comes to new iPhones. Like, okay, the dynamic island, they put it on here. It's cool, but is it really that functional? Not really, in my opinion. I think it's just there. I think I don't want to say it, but be my enemy for it, but I think it's a gimmick. I think the dynamic island is a simple gimmick for Apple to just doing it to say we did something new with our phones this year. That's it. It gets a little bit more screen real estate, but at what cost for a gimmick that is there? In my opinion, I probably just prefer a hole punch and call it a day, like one hole punch. Yes, you do. The only problem with that is you will lose Face ID, so that's why they probably won't do that. And the notch was looking kind of old, so you had to do something with it. And behind the screen camera technology is just not there yet. But I'm pretty sure you could probably put the face ID stuff behind the screen. It'll be okay, and you could just have a whole punch camera. I don't know. I think you could do that. Maybe like fit the face ID in like the top bezel somewhere. Make the bezel probably like slightly large. I don't know. There's probably ways around it, but yeah, the 14 upgrade hasn't been that great, and now with the new iOS 16.2 updates, the phone has been getting like extremely buggy. I don't know what Apple is doing with their software right now when it comes to their phones, but it's getting buggy. We don't even want to talk about iPad because the iPad was like bad from the start with the betas, the first release. It was just like not having it. The new stuff, the new like features were delayed. It like it's a mess. I feel like Apple right now is just honestly a mess. And they like if you look at the iPhone 14 line, they have the iPhone 14 regular one. You had the iPhone 14 Plus, I think it is. Then they had the iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max. And like, what the heck was the reason to do an iPhone 14 Plus that came out like a month later? Because quite honestly, it's not selling that great. If you look at reports, it's not selling. And I would have not expected to sell because once you launch those first two iPhones and those are out, if I'm looking at my options here, I'm just like, I don't want to wait that long. I'm just gonna get a regular 14 or 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max. I don't think I really want a 14 Plus, whatever you want to call it, because like it's super random. Like you got rid of the mini for a bigger size, but quite honestly, even though the mini didn't sell that great either, I probably would have kept the mini. I think the mini would have been way better than the plus model because to me at least the mini offers a functionality for people who want to have a smaller phone. When the 14 plus is like if I want a bigger phone, I might as well just go all the way up to the 14 Pro Max and get my money's worth instead of paying like 1,000 plus for a phone that's using last year's chip. Let me not get started in that now. Like, why are you putting last year's chip in a new version of your flagship phone? Does not make any sense. To me, you're alienating consumers with that. I don't know. I haven't seen much people complain about it, but to me personally, that's a problem. I wouldn't want to be someone who has a 13 Pro, or sorry, no, a 13, and then upgrade to a 14, not realizing that it's the same exact chip. What am I upgrading for? A new color? Like what? A somewhat better camera? That's kind of scummy. I'm sorry, it is. It's scummy to me. Like I wouldn't do that to my consumers. I don't run a company, but if I did, I wouldn't want to do it to my consumers. Like that to me, that's really like screwed up. Okay, I think it's screwed up, and I just want to make sure. So, yes, this is the A15 chip. And if you go to, I'm on the website right now. You're gonna go to the iPhone 13. We're gonna take a look at the specs. I just want to make sure I'm accurate on my stuff here. It uses the A15, and if you want the Pro, you get the A16 chip. And to me, okay, the only difference between the A15 from the 14 and the 13 is the fact that it comes with a 5-core GPU. Big whoop. What does that mean? Quite honestly, I don't know. Like, if you're playing games on your phone, any iPhone will probably do good. Like, they hype these GPU cores on the phone, but it's like, I'm playing a mobile game, and I'm not doing heavy editing on my phone, so, like, does that really help me? Is that really a reason for me to upgrade? No, it's not. All right? It's not to me. Yeah, I did not like that when they did that. And I think going forward in the future, I think they're going to continue to do that. I guess it's a chip shortage. I don't know. Whatever. Silicone shortage, whatever it is. But I can't say I'm a fan of that type of like marketing decision. I'm personally just not a fan of that at all. But and now next year, the next iPhone, with the iPhone 15, there might be an iPhone 15 Ultra that is pretty much going to replace the Pro Max, and I think it's going to have exclusive features that the 15 Pro, not the Max version, just regular 15 Pro, smaller one, doesn't have. And that's kind of sad to me because I finally downsized to the 14 to the regular Pro, and I love the size of this phone. When I use my girlfriend's 13 Pro Max, it just feels unwieldy. It just feels too big. And now they're going to lock features in the Ultra version that's too big. Jeez Louise, Apple. You're hurting me here. You're putting a knife through my heart because right now, you heard me as a fanboy. You're hurting me right now. It's like straight up. I'm not feeling it. Okay, I'm not feeling it, Apple. I talked about the iPad line before in the past, and I told you how bad it is. Check out that video if you haven't yet. But the iPad line to me, straight up mess. You have the Pro, cool. You have an Air, cool. You have two versions of an iPad. The new iPad with the new design and the old iPad. Why? Okay, I don't know. And then you have the Mini. Why is there 5 different iPads to choose from? Like, why? I don't get it. And the new iPad, like, I had it for a while, used it. It's nice. I ain't gonna lie, it's nice. It looks great. It's cool. But buy an Air. You pay a little bit more, you get an Air. Or you pay a little bit more, you get a Mini, which is, yes, it's smaller, but it's pretty freaking good. And then if you want to save money, you just buy the old version, the 9th generation, which they're still selling. Which I understand why they're selling it. It's for, I guess, schools, right? It's for schools, people who need to buy in bulk. But maybe keep it at that and don't sell it alongside the regular 10th generation one because why not? And, like, also, why, if you're going to have the Apple Pencil using lightning, you gotta do something. You gotta upgrade the pencil to a USB-C, or you gotta just make it support the 2nd generation Apple Pencil, or something like that. It's dumb how you had to charge it. I was charging for a while, just like, this is stupid because you can't use it and charge it at the same time. If you're gonna use it and charge it at the same time, I would forgive them for it, but you can't do that. So dumb. There's just too much product offerings in Apple nowadays. That's what I think my issue is. Too much offerings with different stuff. And then, for the iPhone, I forgot about they had the SE, which I do like. Because the SE is a good version to have because that's for people who honestly don't want to spend $1,000 on their cell phone. I respect that. So keep the SE. But like you got way too much products here, and they're still selling the iPhone 12. What's up with that? Oh, okay. How much that cost now? That the iPhone 12 will run you back up to 749, 800, like 750. For 750, I could buy a iPhone 13 for cheaper. Oh, jeez Louise. Apple, man. Apple, yo. I love Apple, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on right now with Apple. You guys are killing me here. All right, that's just ridiculous, and yeah, that special Apple feeling is just gone. To me, in my opinion, like when Apple used to announce to have a press conference. So okay, so we've been recording a video from this side. We're going to record the rest of the video from this angle because my other camera just died because it got too hot. That's not good. But at least luckily I have this camera running as well. So we're gonna switch for the video version. You're just gonna see this for the rest of the video. Yeah, that special feeling for Apple is just not there anymore. I like, to me, Apple used to be like that fun, exciting conferences it used to have. You get a new product when Steve Jobs took out the MacBook Air for the first time out the envelope, while in the first iPhone review. After that, it was just it was exciting time to be an Apple fan. It was sad because during that time I couldn't even afford to buy Apple products. I was a kid in high school who couldn't afford these things, and I missed the golden age, man. I missed the golden age. I missed the days when people used to go outside and camp for new products, stuff like that. I didn't get to experience any of that, but yeah, I just wish Apple could find that magic again. I guess when it comes to innovation, I guess they are doing like the VR headset, and I think that's gonna come out eventually at some point. And yes, the VR headset is going, or the AR headset, I don't know what it is, AR VR thing that Apple's making. It sounds like it's gonna be cool, but it sounds like it's gonna be freaking expensive. So it's not for the average consumer. Average consumers would be buying a Meta Quest 2 because it's way cheaper. Even though the increase of price is still cheaper. But yeah, and I would love to get one. I know if I had the money to, I will get one. But it's not top of my priority right now. I gotta be honest with you, because I don't know. I gotta see the full thing in effect. I gotta see what's about. I gotta see like what's exciting about it. Is it because it could do? Is it going to increase my productivity? Is it for gaming? Is it for this, that? We don't know yet. But we'll find out. There's just rumors out there. And then I guess they were working on some type of Apple Car thing, and I don't know if that failed or whatnot. If that's still going on. It sounds cool. I would love to drive an Apple car. Teslas seem to be out of style now with Elon Musk being Elon Musk. So maybe I want like a freaking Apple car, whip it around. But I don't know what's going on there either. Might have to get the Sony car. Shout out to Sony. But yeah, Apple. I just wish that they could get back to a point where it's just exciting again to be Apple fans. So, but for right now, it just seems like the process they're putting out is just like small upgrades, and I think a lot of it comes down to technology also just being in a stage where it's just not growing. But I do want to see Apple at least try different things like affordable iPhone. Like, why don't we have that by now? Samsung has like 4 generations of affordable devices, and we have 0. I think it's time for affordable iPhone. They're going Pixel. Even Google is making an affordable Pixel soon. Apple, come on, step up, get up there. Like, what's going on? Oh, jeez, man. But yeah, that is my hot take for the week of Apple's lack of innovation and just my disappointing feelings with Apple right now. Thank you for watching the first episode of the hot take podcast on the Amàre Podcasting Network, and I wish you all the best, and I'll catch y'all next week, which we will be talking about. Next week gonna be a funny one. So it's gonna be a couple of stuff we're gonna talk about. I'm also gonna talk about a little bit of like music, TV stuff here and there, and throw it in, sprinkle in some media stuff that goes on in life. But next episode we're gonna be taking a look back at my PlayStation 5 SSD upgrade video, because look, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Luckily, it has 11,000 views. That's awesome. However, it's my most hated video ever because people don't like the way I did it. And yes, I admit it. I made some mistakes. But we're going to see that. We're going to watch it together, do a watch along, and then talk about it in my next episode of the Hot Take podcast. Until then, I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.